See. We're gonna keep the music running through like the first minute of this show.
It's a whole vibe. It's a whole
It's like
vibe.
an HBCU vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like the
Like,
big band with the
wait,
high
and
step.
then did you get the what is the go-go kind of feel
Oh
in the
yeah.
middle? Like,
Listen,
yeah,
I'm here
it's a
for it.
feel. It's a feel. Nonetheless, we are here. Oh, we are back. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Doing the Doctorate podcast, the show that inspires, informs, and impacts doctoral dreamers and celebrates doctors who are making a difference in the world and doing what doctors do. I'm Dr. Kesslyn, your host, award-winning university professor, doctoral coach, speaker, author, founder of the PhD Consultants, mom, and host of this show, Doing the Doctorate. But y'all know I don't do it by myself, right? If you've been following and watching and just following us, you know that I don't do it by myself. I have the incomparable Dr. O sitting with me. She is absolutely amazing, an exceptional early childhood educator, a mompreneur, founder of STEM Early LLC, and show-stopping co-host of this show with the baddest name. Hey,
Oh, hey,
what's up?
oh,
Oh, how you doing?
I'm
How you
good.
doing? How you doing? How you
I'm good.
doing?
I'm enjoying spring. I'm enjoying the weather change. I'm enjoying the sunshine. This is my season. I feel like I'm about to come out. Like, let's go. I'm
Wait,
ready.
I need that shirt. Let me see. Sit back a little bit. Let us read it. It says, "I am enough." Come on, Doc.
Enough.
Come
You're
on,
enough.
Doc. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
It reminds me of this thing I'm trying to do a little something in June. You know, I always come out with something on my birthday.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited.
That shirt is hot. It's kind of giving me some vibes.
I
It's
love
giving
it.
me
I love
vibes.
it.
I'm
All the
loving it.
vibes. All the vibes.
All the vibes. So how was your week? How was your week? What'd you do?
What didn't I do?
Hello. That is
You know
smart.
what I did? I wrote a lot.
Mm,
I wrote a lot. And I think that, sometimes we think that once we graduate and get the PhD, the writing stops. No, the writing is just beginning. And
listen.
doing a lot of the writing, I was actually very intimidated about this assignment because it was given to another person who has way more accolades than me. And
Mm,
then the team decided, no, let's let Dr. O give it a shot because, we appreciate her lens. And I was like, and
mm.
God was like, you wanted an opportunity to get your
Listen.
writing out there. So don't
Listen.
look at me complaining and
Listen.
scared.
Don't be
You better
scared.
get get the writing. So I've been doing a lot of writing this week, but it's been a blessing. It's been a challenge, but nonetheless, I have probably 3 more pages, and my deadline to submit is Tuesday. So
That's
y'all
awesome.
pray for me. Pray for me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That sounds like you're doing what doctors do. Sounds like you're doing
yeah.
what doctors do. I took a quick trip to Huntsville, Alabama this week. I was able to visit Alabama A&M University. My
Nice.
daughter graduated from Alabama A&M University, and she is a proud bulldog. I was able to
I love
attend
it.
there and present at their child welfare conference on my research area, which is domestic violence and intimate partner violence. So that was cool. And then I was able to visit my beloved, my most favorite university in the world. Yes, I said it.
You said it.
I said it. Oakwood University. It is
Nice.
my alma mater. I am a proud Oakwood graduate. And so it was good to go back home and to give to my folk at my school in the Department of Social Work. Hey, Department of Social Work, thank you so much for having me. So it was it was
That's
quick.
it.
I was in and out like a robbery. It was so good. But it was good. It was good. I got to do what doctors do and work on a grant. I'm working on a grant. Whew, I will rest
A
well
lot.
tonight.
Good. You're doing the work. You're doing the doctorate.
We're doing the doctorate. We're doing what doctors do. So the thought for the day, doing the doctorate thought for the day, comes from a person that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. But Dr. Charles Stanley passed this past week, and so we're going to honor him and the work that he did. But he said this. We'll talk about him in a minute. But he said this. He said, "Fear stifles our thinking and actions." Pause. Let that breathe. Fear stifles our thinking and our actions. It creates indecisiveness that results in stagnation. He said, "I have known talented people who procrastinate indefinitely rather than risk failure. Lost opportunities cause erosion of confidence, and the downward spiral begins. Fear stifles our thinking and our actions, and then leads to lost opportunities." What are your thoughts? Oh, what are your thoughts?
So many
Fear.
thoughts.
Yeah.
The first thing when you said fear, I thought of what most people think of as false evidence appearing real.
Yes.
And what I teach the teachers that I mentor is that we need to start teaching young children to embrace failure, right? Because a
Mhm.
lot of the fear stems from being
Yeah.
afraid to fail.
Yes.
But when we embrace failure, we have to understand that failure is a part of the process.
Yes.
All right. When I was doing my doctorate, I came up with this equation on how to cultivate engineering minds in young children. And it
Mm.
was create a growth mindset plus embracing failure will give you that engineering mindset.
Mm.
I got so much pushback on embracing failure. They were like, you need to change it. You need to reword it. You need to,
Mm.
I don't like, people. And then what are parents going to think if you tell their kids they should be embracing failure? And I'm like,
Mm.
if we don't start teaching that failure is inevitable and it is a part of the process, then we're going to create a bunch of students that are
Yeah.
afraid to try because they're afraid to fail. But if you
Mhm.
know, hey, I might fail at this. You know what? There's a large percentage that I am going to fail several times in this process.
Mhm.
Then that minimizes a lot of the fear,
Yeah.
right? Because a
Yeah.
lot of people are afraid to what? They're afraid to fail. But if you take failure and you say, oh, it's just a part of the process, failure is an event, it
Mm.
is not a character trait.
Wait. Let it breathe. Failure is an event. It is not a character trait. Oh, y'all wrote that down, right? Oh, that's
Yeah.
so real. I was reading something this week that talked about, um, procrastination. No, I was listening to a radio show that many of us know about, I'm sure. And the host was saying that she was talking to her therapist. Therapists are good people. They are your friends. See a
They're your
therapist. Have
friends.
therapy and Jesus. Okay. But she was talking to her therapist, and her therapist said, she was telling her therapist that she's procrastinating. And she defined herself as a procrastinator. And her therapist said, no, you are a perfectionist. And when
Mm,
you fear being less than perfect, you put it off and you don't do it.
mm,
You're not a procrastinator. You're a perfectionist who fears
mm.
failure. And
Yep.
so you put it off. That thing hit me, man. Oh, because there are some things, if I'm being honest, that I'm procrastinating
Well,
on. And it speaks to me what Dr. Stanley said and what this radio host said. Man, it's real. Like, but I have determined that I will not let the fear of failure define who I am.
yes, very
Yeah,
good.
it's an event. It is not a character trait. Let's go home. Let's pack it up. Show is over, everybody.
Show's over. Run the credits. Run the music. Dun it, dun
Man,
it,
that was
dun it.
good.
Yeah.
Wow, that was good. That was good. That was good. Thanks, O.
Yeah, that's the first thing that came to me when you said that. And we need to stop robbing God of a manifestation of ourselves by giving him our resume as if he doesn't know our inadequacies. He already
Mm.
knows. And he
Come on,
chose us to
Moses.
do this work, right?
Mm.
And so when you tell him, well, I can't do this, I can't do this, give him your resume of what you can't do and allow that fear to stop you or make you procrastinate, you're robbing the world of a manifestation of your highest and best self.
What you doing to me today? What you doing? We didn't talk about this before the show. Why you calling me out on the show? Oh, what?
Listen,
But
this
but,
is
but in reality, this show should have started 2 years ago.
yeah,
I was like, I don't where I how what I don't have time.
right.
Look at all the people who could have been helped had I just battled the fear. But then you weren't with me 2 years ago. I mean, you were
No,
with
I
me as
wasn't,
a friend, but
but I was not in this space.
yeah,
So
we weren't in
thank you
this
for
place.
waiting. Thank you for waiting. Thank you.
God's okay, we're gonna flip that and call it God's timing rather than Kesslyn's fear. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna work with
I
that.
mean, that works too. Let's
That
go
works.
with that. Let's go with that. Let's go with
That works.
that.
Man. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it. Oh, there may be some folk who are joining us as doctors and they want to give a shout out.
Yes.
We have a time for the doctors roll call. Hey,
Roll
roll call.
call. Put it in the comments. Shout
Put
it
it
out.
in the comments. Hit us up. Put in chat. We want to know who you are. We want to know what your doctorate is in, where you got your doctorate. Why? Because it's really important that people who are watching this show see that you can be a doctor of. You
Right.
can be an engineering doctor. You can be a pharmacist. You can be a doctor of social work,
Yep.
education, leadership, pharmacy. You can be a doctor in almost anything. So we want you to put in the comments what kind of doctor you are, right?
Yes.
Doctor,
Yes.
and I'm a doctor of, I got a PhD or whatever your D
Yep.
was in.
Mhm.
We want to know because we want to use this show to encourage other folk to get their doctorates. The doctor on duty.
Mm.
Next segment is doctor
Um,
on duty. And every week we shout out a doctor who is doing amazing work. We want to acknowledge the work of the doctors in the community. Some of them you may never ever hear, you may never ever know about, but we want to bring them to light again so that you will know who they are and we want to honor them. And
yes.
so tonight we're going to honor, I mentioned his name earlier, Dr. Charles Stanley. In
Yes.
reality, listen, so y'all don't have to write me. I know that he can be a controversial figure. I know about his stances on women in the pulpit and his stances on abortion and his stances on a whole lot of other things. I get it. I understand it. I don't always agree with his theology as well, but we have to honor the work that he did. He passed this week.
Yes.
And this is our first person that we're honoring who is passed. But I want to honor the late Dr. Charles Stanley. He was a giant televangelist in the world. Whether you agree with his theology or not, you have to acknowledge that he did the work. He graduated from the University of Richmond with a bachelor's degree in history in 1954. 2 years later, he was ordained at a Baptist church in Danville, Virginia. That's near my hometown. Like, whoa, like 30. I'm from a small town. I get excited when I hear
Woo!
Danville, Virginia. He earned a master's degree in 1968 and a doctorate in theology in 1971 from Luther Rice College and Seminary. Here's why I have such regard for this man.
Mm.
He wrote, listen, it's one thing to get a doctorate, but last week we talked about having a doctorate and not doing anything with it. What good is it, right? He did the doctoral work. He wrote numerous books, including 3 New York Times best sellers. He's a preacher, he's a teacher, and then he started his television broadcast called In Touch. He passed this week, but at the time of his death, it was carried in touch. It was carried on 743 stations nationwide. And his radio broadcast was broadcasted at 637 stations weekly. Talk about impact. Oh,
Mm.
he made an impact. Again, whether you agree with his theology or his sociology or his politics, you don't have to agree with him, but what we must do is say, he did that.
He did that.
He did that. He did what doctors do. And so tonight we honor Dr. Charles Stanley. Oh, I was following you this week and I saw that you posted something about him. How, just curious, how has he impacted your life?
He was a major influencer in my life, his teaching ministry and me growing in the faith. And really, I really liked how he broke the word down and made it digestible. And for me to watch someone teach from the pulpit and not preach, growing up in a traditional holiness faith, there was a lot of preaching from the pulpit, but there was not a lot of teaching from the
Yeah.
pulpit. And so just to listen to how he was able to break the word down, it was just super impactful. And then recently, not recently, but the last 2 years, I wake up every morning and I listen to whatever the psalm is for my age. I've been doing that for quite some time. But then I listen to a motivational video, morning motivation, and it's his voice.
Mm.
And the first thing I hear every morning is this: the wisest thing that you can do to start every morning is to get connected with Almighty God.
Mm.
First thing I hear every morning, and it's his voice. And he just had a love for the word
Yeah.
and a desire to use his doctorate degree to
Yes.
teach us how to really understand the precepts in the word. And whether you agreed with how he broke it down or not, the thing is he broke it down.
He broke it down. Yeah. You know what I appreciate about him is that he took some stances that were unpopular during his time. Again, whether you agree with him or not, he took a stance. He had done the research, he had done the work, and he took a stance on topics that are controversial to this day.
Mm-hmm.
But he used his doctorate to inform how he researched and his spiritual presence and his spiritual connection. And he made decisions. They weren't always popular, but he made decisions. And I can appreciate that about this doctor. So this evening, we honor the life and the legacy of Dr.
Yes.
Charles Stanley, because what? He did that. He did that.
Did that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there's some stuff going on in the world. A lot of stuff going on in the world that needs a doctor's attention. So, in this segment called The Doctor, what are we talking about tonight on the Call the Doctor segment?
Listen, we need you out there. We need your research out there. Recently, House Republicans passed a bill to ban transgender women and girls from competitive female sports. Now, we just talked about how Dr. Stanley took a stand on some controversial topics.
Yes.
He did the research to inform his stance. So for me, banning people is not a solution for creating equitable spaces.
Mm.
Let me say that again. Banning people is not a solution for creating equitable spaces. Saying you don't belong here is not a solution for equity and belonging. And so what is the answer? What is the solution? I don't know.
Can I interject?
Yes,
It
sure.
just hit me. Sorry, we didn't talk about this in
No,
the
that's
prep.
okay. Go ahead.
It reminds me of separate but equal, but it's
Ooh,
not
ooh,
equal. It's not equal.
ooh,
You're banned from coming into this space. But here's a little
ooh,
side something for you.
ooh.
That's not always equal, right? Banning. Banning people. Yeah. Okay.
I,
Drop the
wh-
knowledge. I feel it coming.
listen, I had to.
That's what it reminded me of. That's what it reminded me of. Banning people doesn't doesn't get us to a place of equality, equity. It doesn't. So talk to us. What are we talking about?
So,
What if
so we need researchers out there. We need doctors out there. We need y'all out there researching, studying, doing the mixed methods to find out what the solution is to this, because this is not the solution. I was sharing with you all earlier that my boys wrestle, and in their wrestling tournaments, they wrestle girls and have been pinned by girls, right? So I
girl
just was
power?
like,
Girl
go girls. I was thinking like, why? It didn't make sense to me. So
power.
anyway, like I'm saying, what I want to say is I'm calling all the doctors, because fortunately we live in a society where we have the right to be treated fairly. And when we
Absolutely.
are not treated fairly, we have the right to speak out about
Absolutely.
our unfair treatment. And in our speaking out, if we have someone who has done the research, who has done the work to say, hey, this is the solution, not banning people, not telling people you don't belong here. And I'm
Mm.
not just giving you my opinion, I'm giving you a thoroughly researched proposal that
Yeah.
has been tested, and the data has been aggregated, disaggregated, all the other aids, and put through all. And this is, you know what I mean? And so we want to exercise that right clearly, tactfully, expressing our opinions, expressing our preferences and our feelings. And this is not just our right, this is
Mhm.
our responsibility.
That part. That part. I don't know if I've ever said this on the show. When I finished my doctorate, I posted about it a while ago. When I finished my doctorate, my doctoral chair, Dr. Trisha Bent Goodley, love her, love her. My doctoral chair said, I said, whew, I am finished. I'm done. Graduation day. I'm done. Like, y'all can have this. I'm done. And she let me stay in that happy place for a moment. And she smiled. And then she said, you're not done.
Mm.
You're just beginning. Now you have a responsibility, a greater responsibility to do more. And I was like, did you just bust my bubble? Like,
What?
but now I get it, right?
Yes.
To whom much is given, much is required. This is a greater responsibility to impact the world. And people who are being banned from spaces and places need us to do the research that provides liberty for them, right? So, yeah, we say it all the time, your research
It
matters.
matters. It
It
matters.
matters.
And
Yeah, I
it
call
doesn't
to the
just matter
doctor.
to you, it matters to the community. And that's why we
Absolutely.
call doctors in the community to do the work in the
Absolutely.
community.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Wow. So we need to, some folk need to, political science people, you might want to look up some of the history and some of the policies about that impact this issue. Because that's an important one. That's an important one. Call the doctors. Call the
Yep.
doctors.
Let's go.
Thanks, O. Thanks, O. Our next segment is called Doctor's Orders. And here is where I get to share some information with you about how to make it to the next season, the next segment, the next part of the journey. I read the quote earlier talked about fear, and oh, fear keeps a lot of people in the doctoral journey from moving forward. Fear. Fear keeps a lot of people in the stage that we call ABD.
Mm,
ABD is known as all but dissertation. But I
mm.
want you to know it's also called all but doctorate. You're going to be everything but a doctor if you don't finish that dissertation. You got to get over your fear. You can't let the fear hold you hostage. And so I'm going to give you in this doctor's orders segment, I'm going to give you some tips for moving beyond your fear and completing your dissertation. Now, it's not all of the tips. There are
Mm.
many more tips that I could give, but I'm going to give you 10 tips. Some of them are taken from the University of Louisville in Lafayette. Others come from my book, Degree of Persistence. And others I just share often with folk who are in my program. But tips for moving beyond the fear and actually writing that dissertation. One, oh, this one is so important. Start with an outline.
Oh,
Please.
oh,
I can't tell you the number of dissertations I have read and proposals that are all over the place. And I will say, did you start with an outline?
mm.
No. You have to start with an outline or your sentences are not going to, your thoughts are not going to connect. You're writing a story. You're
Oh,
leading your reader to understand what the problems are and why your work is important. You must start with an outline. Number one, I could do a whole session on start with the outline. Number two, know your deadlines and the expectations. Every university has deadlines. Every university has expectations about what the doctorate will look like. Your school may have a doctoral guide. You need to find it, put it on your calendar, know what the dates, deadlines, and expectations are so you can at least try to meet them. Number three, get feedback and encouragement early and often. You need feedback
mm-hmm.
and you need encouragement. The feedback section hurts, y'all. Listen, there,
On it now.
there's nothing like writing for a month, 2 months. You take it to your committee
Oh,
and you get it back, and it has red ink
it just
all
it's all bloody. It's just a
over.
bloody paper.
Mercy.
It's like they put it before the firing squad, and it's like
Yes, and you know what? I say it makes you feel like somebody's calling your baby ugly. This thing that you work so hard to get. Somebody's like, oh, what is this? It's painful, y'all. It's painful, but it's important.
yeah.
The feedback makes your document better. So don't be so afraid that you don't ask for feedback from your committee and from your chairperson. You want the feedback because you want your document to be better. Now, when they give you feedback and your feelings are hurt, because they probably will be, make sure you have someone in your corner to give you encouragement. You need someone to pour into you life and positivity and those, it's okay. It's going to be okay. You need someone to do that. So, all right, step three, get feedback and encouragement early and often. Number four, make it your own. You are the expert of your topic. You have your own voice, your own personality. You tell a story about how people told you weren't going to be successful because you brought yourself to this process. But
Mm-hmm.
that's a good thing. Make your research your own. Don't shy away from using your voice. You have to write to a standard now. You have to write to a certain level. This is not elementary school writing.
Right.
But bring your own style to your document. All right. So make it your own. Um, practice self-care. Number five, practice self-care. You're gonna have difficult days. Step away. It's okay.
Step away.
Take a break. Put it down for a weekend. Get loved on by your church, your family, your wherever you want to go. Take a break. Practice self-care. Practice self-care. Even with your diet. Practice self-care. Love on yourself. Go to bed. Take a nap. Take a breather.
Now you're talking to me.
Yeah. Practice self-care, Kesslyn. Oh. Six, read, 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 and read some more. While you're reading, take notes. Do an annotated bibliography. That's a hint. That's a good hint. Trust me, when it's time to write your literature review, that annotated bibliography is going to come in great
Yes.
You're going to appreciate that you did one for every article that you read that's related to your work. But it must start with reading.
Yes.
Read, 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 read. I do a course on speed reading. How do you speed read and do everything you need to do when you're reading so you can do your literature review? That's another training for another day. But read, read, read. Number 7, remember your why. You're going to be tested. You're going to be tested. You're going to be pushed to the edge many times.
Many times.
Remember why you're doing this.
Mm.
And hopefully your why is connected to a bigger purpose than I want people to call me doctor. Hopefully your why is connected to an issue that you want to resolve, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
remember your why. 8, it's not a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon.
A marathon.
We talked about the feedback you're going to get. You're going to get feedback. You're going to get feedback. It's okay. It's a part of the marathon.
Yes.
This is not undergrad. This is not a master's program. This is a doctoral program, and it takes time.
It takes time.
Lots of time.
Yeah.
And when I say time, I mean, there are people who graduate in 2.5 years. I've had 2 clients who've graduated in 2.5 years. Can you imagine?
No.
2.5 years. But that's because they did the tips early on. They got the tips early on. They applied them. But then there are some folk who finish in 10, 12 years. I was at the 7-year point.
12.
Listen, it's a marathon. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a sprint. Right? All right. Number 9, be a little selfish. Ooh. Everybody's going to pull on you at some point. Everybody's going to want something from you.
This is a good one.
I remember it was family reunion summer in Vegas. I said Vegas, y'all. Vegas.
Vegas.
My family wanted me to hang out and do what folk do in Vegas. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I had to say, no, I'm going to go. I went with my dad a few places. But I had to finish this degree. So I had to sacrifice. And the time that I had set aside to work on the degree was my time.
Yeah.
No one interfered. You have to create boundaries. Be a little selfish. It may cost you something.
Yeah.
It may cost you some close relationship and some close friends. Yeah. But be a little selfish. If you want to get out, this has got to be like number 3, 4 on your priority list, right? And the last one, set small goals and celebrate the wins.
Celebrate the wins.
Set small goals. Celebrate the wins. Even if it's, I wrote 1 sentence today, I'm like, let's have a party. Hey. Because at this level, writing a sentence can be, man, writing a sentence can take you all day.
Want it to be all day.
Absolutely.
To write a paragraph.
Yes.
A full day. My husband said, well,
Yes.
how much writing did you get done today? I said a paragraph. He's like, but you were at the library for 8 hours.
Listen, it can take all day.
Yeah.
It can, and then you'll read it tomorrow and you're like, this is mess. I need to rewrite. This is foolishness. What was I thinking? And you'll rewrite it. You may work on that paragraph forever, but it's a part of the process.
It's a process. Yeah.
Whenever you finish whatever you're doing, celebrate it, right? Celebrate it. Take the time to celebrate it. So listen, don't let the fear of failure stop you from moving forward. Don't let the fear of failure stop you from moving forward. Write the dissertation. You don't want to be ABD, all but dissertation, because that means all but doctor. Mm-hmm. You came into this process to get your degree. So don't let fear stop you.
Right. That's so incredibly good. You know, I got my notes.
You got your notes.
I started putting it in this notebook, which means it's in there.
All right.
I got all 10 tips in there. Step away. It's okay. That resonated with me.
Yes.
and then celebrate the small wins.
Yes.
That's major because, doubt and fear will cripple you and will stifle
Absolutely.
you. And remember, failure is an event. It's an event that's inevitable in this
That's right.
process.
Yeah. Many times over when you get all the red on your paper.
Many times.
Many, many
So
times.
it's an event, but it's not a character trait. It doesn't mean that you're not a good writer. It doesn't
Right.
mean that you're not smart enough to complete this degree. It
Right.
means it means you are doing the work.
That's going to be critiqued. And that's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Good thing.
It's a good
Yeah.
thing. So, you know what? Embrace the failure because it's a part of the process, and don't let fear cripple you
Yeah.
because we need your research. Your research matters. It's just to
It
go
matters,
go
y'all.
back to what about us honoring, Dr. Charles Stanley. He wrote over 45 books. 45
Wow.
books.
Wow. Books, Doc. Books.
Now, and let's talk about the
Books.
fact that he was a pastor for over what, 50 years, was it?
Mm,
Well, it
mm.
might have been more than 50. And just think about the sermons he wrote. You pastoring for over 50 years.
Wow.
How much writing did this man do? And how much of an impact is his work having and will have for generations?
That's the thing, right? That really is what doing a doctorate is about. Having impact for now and the future.
Because
Impact.
yeah, because listen, your children's children will read that book.
Yeah. You know, funny you should say that. My grandfather was a high school principal back in the day of segregation. He
Mm.
was a black high school principal. And he and his colleague wrote a book that I am now reading.
Wow.
Inspirational.
Ah, that's so good.
Man,
So good.
man, you never know who you will reach. Can you imagine all the people that Dr. Charles Stanley reached through his books, through his sermons? And he reached people who reached people who reached people,
Yep.
like
Mind blowing.
making a difference in the world.
Making a
Yeah,
difference. Got the degree and did something.
he did it. He did it. So you have the tips. You have
Yes.
10 tips for how to move beyond your fear when you're writing your dissertation. But I have some good news. So we're gonna move on to house calls, what we're doing in the future. One thing that I'm doing, Doc,
Mm-hmm.
well, two things. On May the 5th, I am hosting, and I haven't even advertised it yet. Well, I told you last week, but I haven't put out any ads. May 5th, I'm doing a free session on how to get your doctorate for free.
I love it.
I try to do it at least once a year, but how to get your doctorate for free.
That's good.
You do not have to pay to get your doctorate.
That's
You
good.
do not have to go in debt. So I'm doing that session on 5/5, but then on 5/7, face to the 5/5 is virtual. 5/7 is going to be face to face at Capitol Hill Seventh Day Adventist Church in DC, and it's going to be a doctoral success series. So I'm going to talk about how to get it for free, but I'm also going to talk about some other things. And the session is free.
Nice.
Free, free.
Nice. 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 Nice.
Because this is what doctors do. I know that we need you in the world. So
Yes.
I give free resources. There's another event that's coming up the 1st through the 4th in June. I am so excited. I am doing a writing retreat. Y'all, I haven't done one
Yay.
since COVID. I haven't done one since COVID. And there are so many people who are thankful for the writing retreat. In fact, the producer of this show, Dr. Gary Jones, came to one of the writing retreats and it moved him closer to his place of graduation.
Nice.
So I'm excited. You'll be hearing about the writing retreat June 1st through 4th. What else am I doing? So I'm getting ready for all of that this week.
That's
What
awesome.
else am I doing this week other than working on a grant, planning for, I think this is the first week in a few that I haven't traveled. Oh,
Wow.
I get to sleep.
Wow. That's
What's
exciting.
up with what's on your schedule this week?
It's so funny how when you're traveling, I'm not. And when I'm
Oh,
traveling, you're
yeah. Yeah.
So I will be traveling this Tuesday. I'll be headed down to Greensboro, North Carolina for their Smart Start conference.
Mhm.
And then when I get back on Friday, I'll turn right around and go to Ocean City, Maryland for the Maryland State Child Care Association. And then when I get back from there, I'll be going to Michigan to do some listening sessions for the work that I'm doing with the MHTTC and Yale University. So I was like, wow, this travel schedule is going to be bananas. But I'm so excited that as May comes to an end, I'll be able to relax. And then I got 3 emails back to back stating that congratulations, your proposal has been accepted for this
Yes.
conference and this conference.
Yes.
And it don't stop.
Come on, Doc.
And it shouldn't. And it shouldn't. Gotta do the work.
Come on, Doc. Yes.
Yeah, so I'll be in Portland, Oregon. I'll be in Prince George's County. And I'll be right back in Ocean City in June for
That's
a
awesome.
different conference. So
Wow.
doing the work.
Come
doing
on.
the work.
That's what it's about. Where can people, I don't know that I've ever asked you this on the air, but where can people find you to learn more about what you do or to even book you for a speaking gig?
You can find me everywhere you see at STEM Early. So STEM Early on Facebook, STEM Early on Instagram. And it's actually Arinthia Harris on Twitter. So it's Arinthia Harris on Twitter. So you can find me on all those, or you can just email me, DRO, DROH at stemearly.org,
Yay.
DRO.org. So I'm doing the work. I want to have it be said of me, Dr. O served the purposes of God in her generation, and then she fell asleep. So I want to die empty. So I'm got to do the work. Got to do the work.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, that's good. That's good. Oh, man. Well, listen, we are here. I am so thankful for you. Oh, thank you for joining me on this show. We have some interesting shows coming up. I'll tell you all about it later. But we have some special guests, some special doctors who are coming in to talk about what they do and their businesses and their job. It's going to be really good. So you don't want to miss the upcoming sessions. You don't want to miss it. Dr. Charles Stanley said, we can be tired, weary, and emotionally distraught. We can even be afraid. But after spending time alone with God, we find that He injects into our bodies energy, power, and strength.
That's good. Say long.
So as we close tonight, I pray that God interjects energy, power, and strength, because it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. I'm Dr. Kesslyn with the PhD Consultants, here with Dr. A. Just reminding you that the doctoral degree, it is not merely a degree of intelligence. It is a degree of persistence. And we at the PhD Consultants are here to help you persist. Reach out to us. Follow me on all social media, Dr. Kesslyn. I am here. Email me at Dr. Kesslyn at the PhD Consultants. I am here to support you. Why? Because your research matters. Your research matters. I'll talk to you soon. Good night, everybody. Love you, mom and dad. Mwah.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.
Where's the music? Dinner, dinner.